All right, welcome back to another episode of Are You Not Entertained? This is episode 25, and it has been a crazy week in gaming. So let's just go through a few topics that I think just needs some little attention. All right, another game just died. Players are starting to realize something scary is happening in gaming right now. Highguard, a game that launched with real hype, is officially shutting down, people, on March 12th. Servers gone, progress gone, everything gone. And here's the bigger problem nobody wants to talk about. This isn't just about Highguard. More and more games are disappearing completely once publishers decide they are done with them. No offline mode, no preservation, just delete it. So what actually happened to Highguard? And why are players saying this is becoming a serious problem across the entire industry? All right, so here's the situation, people. The developers behind Highguard confirmed the servers will officially shut down March 12th, which means the game will become completely unplayable after that date. No servers, no way to access it. Now, on one hand, server shutdowns happen. Like, that's a part of the industry. It's a part of the game. That's nothing new in gaming. But what's starting to really frustrate players and really piss some other people off is how fast this is happening lately. Games launch, struggle to keep players, and then they disappear within a couple of days. What's happening right now, or years. Highguard is just the latest example of a trend that is getting a lot of gamers worried. All right, so just like how we did Anthem when their servers shut down, we're going to have a slight viewing in a moment of silence for Highguard and all the people that loved it and played it. All right, now, so listen. Listen, people are crowning this motherfucking game as Concord 2. And that is so embarrassing. Like, let's recap everything with Highguard. It was announced, it was the closer of the Game Awards, what ultimately built all this negativity because everybody was like, what the fuck? That is not a position where a game like Highguard is announced. The guy that runs Game Awards said all this fucking word salad. People were pissed, saying all this shit online, and the developers said nothing. The company of Highguard in the game and developers, now they want to talk. Oh, that was the time to talk when all the shit was getting out of hand. And then they launched, and the launch was pretty pathetic. So, like I said, Highguard servers are shut down March 12th. Always online problem. And when games do this and they shut down servers, this is becoming a real issue because I don't know if, and this might be, they might have confirmed this, I don't know, but I haven't seen anywhere where they're giving people refunds. And I don't, and listen, I don't know, maybe they are, but I haven't seen it. So how can you shut down a server so quickly? There got to be something in the fine print. Hey, you shut your game down and within a certain time limit, automatically refunds, which that's going to be real dangerous because then they'll probably just have the game on servers. No, but then they so cheap. They fired the layoffs. I don't know. Highguard has just been crazy. But this trend is growing where developers and the studios are saying, hey, scrap the whole fucking shit. Take it offline. No offline mode. You can't play this ever again. And a lot of people are really, and gamers, and my cousin has been saying this for a while, this is a problem with not having true ownership of our games. And the problem is only going to continue to grow with examples like Highguard, Concord, and Anthem, always online games. That's why I just feel like that online gaming, always online gaming is just a dying breed. It's really outdated, and honestly, you shouldn't put your money in them. I just would think. That's my feelings. But should developers be required to add an offline mod when shutting down games forever? I think that's an interesting question as this continues to happen. I do think they should, because if I pay $60 and if you're not going to automatically give me my fucking refund for my money and you close the game down, like this shit came out January, we're in March 6th, like it barely made 45 days online. Like, nah, bro, give me my money back. But Infamous, what do you think about all this with this Highguard situation? You know, step to the podium and close out the viewing for Highguard, because just as quickly as it came, it left.
Yeah, so I've never done this before, but hello everybody. My name is Infamous. Hi, Infamous. And I just want to say I told y'all so. No one wants to play these bullshit cookie cutter paste ass games. Consumers, gamers all around, we are tired of this live service crusade, and it is dying by piece. I'm sorry, by game, studio by studio. They tried to play
Facts.
fast and loose, having it at the last slot of the Game Awards. Oh, we don't know what happened. Well, guess what? Facts came out. You weren't indie devs. You were funded by Tencent. Jeff Keighley is paid by Tencent. Anyone seen any clues? This shit was orchestrated. Oh, I just played the game and it was so. You ain't played shit. The game is shit, and audience see it.
Damn.
And not only that, you made it free. You made
Yeah,
it
that's
free,
crazy.
and you can sustain an audience at a free $99
Yeah.
price tag. You got Helldivers 2 and Arc Raiders charging $40, a cheap first date, and they maintain it. Get the fuck out of here. No one wants to play this shit. People want narrative-driven games. Now, I'm not gonna sit up here and shit and say no one wants anything online. It's when you do it right. Truly feels this was a passion project, not some shit to nickel and dime a person when we already dealing with enough problems as it is in our regular day lives. Once again, from Infamous Land, bye-bye. Let the dough hit you on the way out. We got bigger and better things to look forward to coming up. Wouldn't want to be you.
Yes, people, and that concludes today's viewing on Highguard. Like I said, first fuck up of 2026, but I'm sure it won't be the last, people. Let us know how you feel and what you thought about this topic of Highguard shutting down on March 12th, and did you buy it? And have you gotten a refund? Because, baby, at the March 12th, it's a fucking wrap. Let us know in the comments down below. All right, something strange might be happening with Sony, and PC players are starting to notice. For the past few years, PlayStation has been pushing hard to bring its biggest games to PC, expanding beyond the console's ecosystem. But now, rumors are starting to circulate that Sony may be pulling back from that strategy, with reports suggesting the company wants to double down on PlayStation exclusives again. If that's true, it could completely change Sony's strategy moving forward. So the big question is Sony abandoning PC ports, or is this just a temporary shift in direction? All right, people. So here's where things get interesting. Sony originally started bringing major titles to PC to expand the audience and drive more revenue. Games like Horizon, Spider-Man, and others prove there's a huge market outside the PlayStation console. But now, insiders and rumors suggest Sony may be reevaluating that approach, potentially slowing down PC releases to reinforce the value of owning a PlayStation console. And if Sony really does prioritizing exclusives again, that could reignite one of the biggest debates in gaming. Should PlayStation games stay exclusive, or should everything come to PC eventually? All right, so the rumor, like I said, Sony may be pulling back on PC ports. For the past few years, Sony pushed games to PC. Like I said, Spider-Man, God of War, Horizon, The Last of Us. The goal was strictly to bring in more revenue and reach new players. New speculation suggests Sony may slow down PC releases to make PlayStation consoles more valuable again. Interesting. I'm still not buying a PlayStation Pro. Some fans think too many PC ports has weakened the PlayStation brand. Others argue PC releases make Sony more money and grow the audience. So what's the fucking problem? So the big debate, should PlayStation games stay exclusive or release everywhere to reach more players, potentially bring in more money, especially after reports that suggest that PlayStation doesn't make a lot of big margins on their exclusives. So honestly, pulling PC ports could be a financial issue that could really bite Sony's in the butt. But I also, like I said in the Xbox Helix video, I think it's very interesting that PlayStation is coming out and saying all this, and then 2 days later, the new CEO of Xbox said their new console is going to play PC games and Xbox games. So I think they're trying to get ahead of that and say, no. We're not going to allow Xbox to potentially, share any revenue with that. Now, we'll give you some revenue by, taking some of your biggest titles like Halo, Gears of War, and whatever else and bring them to our consoles. We don't want our shit even shared in the same ecosystem of anything that you got going on. So, this looks like a big game of big dick energy. Somebody is saying, hey, no, we're not doing that. And I think we all know the financial ecosystem of the gaming right now. Everybody is watching the pocketbook. So I think it's not crazy to think that Sony is looking like, no, we're in no way or form or fashion are we gonna put money in Xbox, even though it's not directly to Xbox, but now that Xbox and PC, the I don't know, the RAM, the world, there's no barrier between that. So I don't know. I just think PlayStation is trying to have big dick energy right now. I mean, Infamous, what do you think?
There's a lot of angles to this. I'm gonna try to take them one by one. So I do get the approach that Xbox has possibly found a loophole. Where they're like, yo, we're putting all our shit everywhere, but no one's sharing with us. So now they're like, hey, PlayStation puts their games on PC. We're making a PC. Hey, we ain't gotta allow them to let us have their shit. We're just gonna let it happen. Because when that Xbox ROG Ally X thing come out, there were Xbox fanboys on Twitter. Oh, look at this. I'm playing a PlayStation game on my Xbox handset. And it was like, That's angle one. Angle two, the money. I have seen the reports, and counter to what you say, Treese, PlayStation does not make that much money from selling these games on PC. In the 6 years they've been doing this little dance with the devil, I think we reported before, they made 1.6 ish billion. Before you take away Steam's cut, that breaks down to maybe 1.2, 1.3 billion. In 6 years of doing this, that is what they make, I think, in a few months on PlayStation Online revenue on itself. In 6 years, you made a quarter or a tenth of what they do in other services, at least corporate speak. I need to make sure I say this so no one thinks, Infamous is shilling, or from a business perspective, money wise. Following up on this angle, I don't believe PlayStation has really had their heart in their PC ports. I really want to say there was really only one port that launched and did well. Majority of them always launched in a weird state, buggy, glitchy, unoptimized, and then they had to come back and really double down, triple down to get it to work. And it's like, what was the point of you buying that studio that is primarily, specifically, just for porting games on PC? And nearly every PlayStation port on PC is bad. I talked about the optimization of PC games a while ago, and it's bad. Now, once again, speaking corporate wise, that's damaging to your brand in a sense. It's like, man, are PlayStation games like this on console to your average PC person who does not indulge in the console space? You know what I'm saying? And you have to look at it as, when PlayStation shows off games, you have the core audience who's down, you have future audience who's like, oh man, that looks cool, I'm looking into that. And then you have a certain audience who are like, man, I can't wait for a year or two for that comes out on PC. This notion and narrative that Sony had in their mind that if we drip feed these games on PC, PC players will go out and buy a PlayStation so they can play it faster and not wait. That's not going to happen. It will never happen. You are not pulling anyone away from their $2,000, $3,000, $5,000 rig to get a PlayStation. It's just not happening. And then I'm going to tackle this from the exclusive angle. Some people may think this is bad, but I'm going to go ahead and say my 2 cents. I am for and always will be for exclusives. I didn't say PlayStation exclusives. I said exclusives, period. Now, I am fortunate to own a PlayStation, a Xbox, a Nintendo, and I have my Steam Deck and gaming laptop. I can indulge on any and all platforms to however I so choose to do it. But gamers, consumers, listeners all around, hear me out when I say this and think real hard. Exclusives is what drives competition and keeps it in check. I'm going to give a great example. When the 360 launched and gave Sony a run for their money, it put their ass under a fire and they got their shit together. And it made Uncharted on the counter Gears of War. Yeah, they never really made a counterpart for Halo, but just hear me out. Exclusives is what drives the console market. And anyone who wants to debate me or say that's horseshit, look at Nintendo. Nintendo is the only platform that is not sharing shit. PlayStation, we're going to put on PC. Xbox, day and day launch PC. Nintendo, and man, you buy our shit or you don't play Mario. And no one bats an eye at that. I don't know why this is a thing all of a sudden when PS1, 2, 3, 4, and the beginning of 5 were all exclusives. And I can understand someone's going to comments, but like, he's corporate shilling, he's a fanboy. No. I'm telling you like it is. Because I bought all the Gears of War and played them. I had an Xbox. I played PlayStation exclusives. There are tons of PC games that don't even come to console. And no one says anything. It's what gets people in on Steam and stay on Steam. I am all for this. Because you know why? This will help make the other platformers get their shit together and do better. Sony's PlayStation 5 Pro, $700. I bet you if Microsoft was on their game better, that would not have happened. So that's how I'm going to tackle this angle. They want to bring their games back to console, and it's just a single player games. As far as the narrative I've heard from Xbox and PC players, Sony's single player games are one and done, and PC people don't care, and Xbox people make fun of it. So why are you all giving a shit that they pull it back? You weren't interested. That's how I look and see this.
Yeah, so I do want to make a not a counter, but like I just want to give context because you said that PlayStation revenue that they make from porting is not that grand. I also want to just put in context that this generation, don't get me wrong, PlayStation sold a lot of consoles, but they did fuck up this generation too. Not as bad as Xbox, but all that fucking live service games that they had, this has been the least exclusive PlayStation titles that they've had on a console ever. And it's because they had that major
Absolutely.
fuck up from all the live service games. They had they had a lot of fuck ups. So honestly, they might look at that income and say, "Hey, that's good," because at least kind of it shielded them from all the fuck ups they had to scrap. And let it be known that we have said this quite a lot. PlayStation does not have big dick daddy money like Xbox has from Microsoft, so they cannot afford. They cannot afford to fuck up like that. And this has been. Don't get me wrong. They sold a lot of consoles. I'm never taking that away from them. This generation has been a fuck up for Sony too on certain levels and money making levels. That is the main issue. They had so many live service games, so many other games they had to scrap, and now they're closing Blue Point and shit like that. So the dollar amount and the money, don't get it ever twisted. They are tightening the fucking ship too. They are looking for shit that is gonna put them in the black and is making them money. If it ain't making money, we ain't doing it. Just because the revenue from the PC ports hasn't been, and like you said, they didn't put their heart in it because they probably didn't want to spend no money. They needed that revenue to cover up their fuck ups from other shit that they did in this generation. So I just want to put a little context on that. And I think, don't get me wrong, PlayStation reputation is a lot better than Xbox, but they have fucked up this generation too. And $750 for a PlayStation Pro, you can suck my dick on that. I'm never getting a Pro, and I probably won't get another PlayStation, honestly. And I just listen. I know PlayStation has been doing exclusive. They've been holding on. No one is gonna be Nintendo because Nintendo is just stubborn. They're never gonna. They have too much pride to ever have they shit on any other platform. They just don't have the pride of Nintendo. Will not allow that. They will rather shut their doors, have Mario, Zelda, Pokemon on any other platform. I really think that's their stance. They rather shut their doors than to ever do that. Sony is in survival mode when they was like, hey, we got to put our shit to the PC. We got to cover up these losses. Like, I just think that was their stance. And now they've sold 90 million consoles. They're in a more better financial position to say, hey, fuck that PC port, because we're going to bring back the value of having a PlayStation as the landscape of gaming and the barrier between gaming consoles and PC. The line is getting more blurred every other fucking week, it seems like. So I think that's just a little context I wanted to add to that. But, I really think PlayStation is just looking at the books just like Xbox. Hey, it's got to make us money going forward. And like I said, they closed Blue Point. Shit is getting crazy.
Absolutely. And then I also want to add, because there was articles I was reading where they were talking about this, and this is another looking at it from the outside in. The long-term view of things. We talked about how PlayStation is delaying, allegedly, the next generation, the PS6. So that means PS5, they need to sell more. They need PlayStation to do better. And the best way to guarantee selling more systems and pushing the brand is to make sure people come to the brand. There are talks that the games on PC and the certain nature of the PC games has damaged the brand to a sense. And if PS5 needs to be around significantly longer due to the RAM apocalypse and all this other stuff, we're not going over this. We've talked about this ad nauseum. So now they're like, okay, and like as you said, tightening the belt. When a first party game is sold on PlayStation, that is all pure revenue they take to the bank. It's sold on Steam, Steam gets their 30% cut, as does everyone else. Pay tribute in a sense. So I can see how they're probably like, hey, if this generation is going to go on significantly longer and we really got to make this last, we need to bring everyone to us and not anyone else. Like I said, I'm just looking at the optics. I have read many, many articles talking about this, and it is kind of alarming. Then at the same time, like I said, it's nothing new. Exclusives drive sales.
Yeah, but definitely let us know what you think. What is your conspiracy theory about all this and the timing of it and the direction in the future of PlayStation and Sony as a company? Let us know how you feel and what you think in the comments down below. Ubisoft just broke their silence, and one of the most beloved Assassin's Creed games of all time might officially be coming back. Well, ain't no might, it's coming back. After years of rumors, leaks, and speculation, it looks like the Black Flag remake is finally real, people. And honestly, this might be one of the smartest moves Ubisoft could make ever in existence, especially in recent fuck up history, because Assassin's Creed Black Flag is still widely considered one of the best in the entire franchise. But the big question is, are we getting a true remake that modernized the game, or just another Ubisoft nostalgia cash in? Alright, so here's what we know so far. Ubisoft has been completely quiet about the rumors and surrounding a Black Flag remake for years, honestly. But new information suggests the project is real and currently in development. It actually makes a lot of sense. We've reported this in the past. This is not our first Black Flag video. Black Flag was a massive success when it launched. The naval combat, the pirate setting, remake could either ignite excitement for the franchise completely or spark another debate about whether Ubisoft is relying too much on nostalgia. Now, Ubisoft has confirmed Black Flag remake. Assassin's Creed Black Flag, released in 2013, and is considered, like I said, one of the best in the franchise. The game became famous for pirate exploration and naval combat. Listen, I loved it. I played that shit from beginning to end. I think I did completely everything there is to do in the game. The remake is rumored to be rebuilt with Ubisoft's newer engine and modern graphics. Ubisoft may be trying to reignite excitement. Ain't no might. They're trying to rebuild this Assassin's Creed franchise. Some fans are excited, but others feel Ubisoft is leaning too heavily on remakes. The big debate question right now: would you rather see a Black Flag remake or a brand new Assassin's Creed game? I'm gonna answer that real quick. I'd rather see Black Flag, because the Black Flag is just that goddamn good. Modern graphics, modern control on modern console. Listen, I am, you already know how I am, Treese. I being quiet protest, because I said I was never going to buy another Ubisoft game, but I'm going to make an asterisk. I will buy a remake. And Black Flag is one of those things I will rebuy, because it was just that good. It was groundbreaking. Don't get me wrong. It veered off the little ram of being a true assassin, but it just made up and was so positive in all other ways. I didn't think I really enjoy being a pirate, being a captain, sailing the seas, fucking hunting whales, fucking going after the big pirate ships that was supposed to be hard, but it really didn't end up being difficult at all. One thing I was like, bro, can we upgrade our boat to look more grand and big? That was one thing I didn't like about Black Flag, but everything else I love. Infamous, what do you prefer? A Black Flag remake or a new Assassin's Creed game? Let the people know.
I'm gonna keep this short and sweet. Black Flag remake. The fuck? Like, Black Flag was the most feature complete Assassin's Creed game that I played, enjoyed. I didn't like the multiplayer, and I think I've talked about that before, but I did everything in that game. I hunted down all those whales. FEMA, come at me. I did all the side missions, the hunts, everything. Those ships, boy, I was plundering. You couldn't tell me I wasn't a pirate getting that booty. And of course, the legendary ships.
Jesus.
Even though that one fight was bullshit with the two. Like come on. But then I realized there was a mechanic I wasn't utilizing. The triangle button that swivels the cannon around. Well, that was doing mad damage. I'm all for this. And right now, Ubisoft is in the gutter. Not the ghetto, not down on their luck. They're in the ghetto.
Damn.
They need a W so bad. They need a win. It is I couldn't put into words just how much they need something to go right for them. And the best thing they can do to do that, Black Flag remake.
Yeah.
And I want to say this before I end this. They said remake, not remaster. So they
Mhm.
are putting the work and effort into it. Now, the only thing I really got to say, hopefully they don't do, is all the money grubbiness, the microtransactions. But me personally, I've never cared about those because I don't buy them. Don't affect the game. But yeah, I want the remake. They can do something new whenever or whatever.
Yeah, listen, and it's not even close. The amount of like interest. I have no interest in another Assassin's Creed game. Now, don't get me wrong. Maybe it could be the next coming of Origins, but it just has such a negative stigma on the brand and everything. But one thing Ubisoft could guarantee get me to pay some money for is Black Flag, and I think it's not even a secret because, like I said, this Black Flag Resynced, whatever you want to fucking say, has been rumored for years, so they know this is the most easiest layup they could do right now, especially after the news of the layoffs, them closing certain studios or sub studios. Like, they really need a win. And I know we have reported that this game was supposed to come out in a month, but when the mass layoffs happened, they delayed it until 2027 fiscal year. I'm not sure what Ubisoft's fiscal year window is, and I really don't care. Black Flag is the easiest layup, and I said that these remakes or these nostalgia things that they're doing, they have to hit. They have to come out minimum motherfucking issues, minimum motherfucking negative stint. They need to hit and produce some fucking money for the studio. Cause listen, before the layoffs happened, I said I don't know how Ubisoft is keeping the lights on, and obviously they didn't know either. That's why they had to do the layoffs. So listen, Ubisoft, this is the easiest layup you can fucking do in 2026 and 2027. Do not fuck this up. As somebody who is a huge fan of Black Flag, I am pleading, do not fuck this up. Do not fuck this up. If they fuck over this remake, I think it's over for Ubisoft. Honestly, Tencent, well, I hope that maybe they can take over everything full control. I know they own 25% of everything right now, but if they fuck this up, there is no coming back for Ubisoft. I don't care what. I know they have announced some other shit. I don't care. It's a wrap. But let me know how you feel. Do you think Black Flag needs to hit? Do you believe that the remake, they're really paying the attention? They delayed it to pay extra attention for polish. Do you believe all that? Do you think that's word salad? I don't know. Let us know how you feel, what you think in the comments down below. Capcom might have done it again, people. Resident Evil Requiem, man, that's a fucking word twister, is absolutely exploding right now. New reports suggest the game sales numbers are breaking records, and fans are jumping in faster than anyone expected. And honestly, this is becoming a pattern for Capcom. Between Resident Evil remakes and new entries, the franchise has been on one of the most impressive runs in recent gaming history, I would say. But here's the real question. Is the success about Resident Evil itself, or is Capcom just outclassing the rest of the industry right now? All right, so let's talk about these numbers. Early reports show Resident Evil Requiem is selling incredibly fast, putting it among the strongest launches in the franchise. And that says a lot because the Resident Evil series has already had huge hits in recent years. Capcom seems to have figured out a formula that works. Strong horror atmosphere, modern gameplay improvements, and respecting what fans love about the older games. But now the bigger conversation starts. Is Resident Evil the most reliable franchise in gaming right now? All right, so Resident Evil Requiem sold 5 million copies in 5 days. Let me repeat that for the people in the back in the cheap seats. Resident Evil Requiem sold 5 million copies in 5 days, making it one of the fastest launches in franchise history. That's a big deal, people. It's likely the biggest franchise launch ever. And let's just put this in perspective. It hit 5 million faster than Resident Evil Village, Resident Evil 4 Remake in 2023. That says a lot because everybody likes fucking Resident Evil 4. That milestone puts it alongside, like I said, Resident Evil Village, which also had a massive launch. This continues Capcom's winning streak with the franchise. Resident Evil 2 Remake sold 13 million copies. Resident Evil 4 Remake, 7 million copies. Resident Evil Village with 10 million plus copies sold. Capcom seems seems to have perfected the modern Resident Evil formula. The franchise is now one of Capcom's biggest revenue drivers. Now, listen, this is the big question. Has Resident Evil become the most consistent franchise in gaming right now? Infamous, what would you say to that?
I want to say Capcom has really, really been doing it lately. They have been really on their A game from the remakes of 2, 4, which I did play because I didn't play the original. But hey, my cousin, and you'll probably have heard this many times, she gets on me. I buy a lot of games. I also don't finish a lot of my games. I play and finish Resident Evil 4 remake. Capcom, you are really doing it. I didn't get this one. I'm trying to be a little more responsible, not really. I
It's
just don't
it's
buy
a
Resident Evil when they first come out.
it's a lot of good
But
games though on the schedule, so that's
yeah,
understandable.
yeah, there's a lot of you all know my big game is Crimson Desert.
Yeah,
I don't need
that's
nothing distracting me from that.
yeah.
But I am very shocked this game sold that many that fast. That is a fever dream for developers. 5 million in a few days. You making money, baby.
You doing it.
And Capcom is really on a roll right now. So I really hope that they can continue this because it really just shows the level of commitment they have to revitalizing the franchise, really putting, the money where their mouth is. Because at one point, Resident Evil was down in the dump. People felt some type of way with Resident Evil 6, but we're not here to talk about it. But I do want to give them a congratulations. I am
Yeah.
not one of the 5 million, like I said. I got a lot going on, and I have my money set on bigger and better pastures. But hey, keep doing it. I do look forward to when I'll get it, when it's on sale eventually, probably towards the end of the year. But that's crazy. 5 million in just 5 days. I want to put this in perspective. That goes to show you what consumers want. These high polished, high quality, narrative driven games that is not just filled with bullshit and tied to the online. Even though you could probably beat this in a weekend, hey, people came out and showed, hey, I want this. And they bought it full price. So keep it going. Give us more, Capcom. Give us more.
Yeah, let's just give them a round of applause. They are really doing it. I've said this in past where we talked about this in passing. Our friend in our group chat, he deleted YouTube, Twitter, I think like 2 or 3 weeks before this game came out and that's another reason why I'm very shocked that it's selling so fast is because so much of the game was fucking released and everybody had this in their showcase and they were showing different footage and different mechanics and the people that got the game early was spoiling the fucking end and stuff like that. So it's a testament to our friend who was that dedicated to delete his social media so he wouldn't have his single player experience ruined by social media. If our friend is that dedicated, I can only imagine the real extreme Resident Evil players. So listen, Capcom, baby, I do think they're one of the most successful franchises right now because the numbers you can't take that away from them. 5 million in 5 days is just unheard of right now. And like my cousin said, people really want this type of experience. They're over the live servers, the always online, the shit that hey, these studios are shutting down the servers 45 days later. Highguard. So, hey, this is a true testament of how players want to enjoy their games and real ownership, might I add. A lot of people bought this physically too. So, shout out to Capcom, shout out to Resident Evil. I probably won't play this no time soon because just like my cousin said, Crimson Desert is on the horizon and I'm playing a lot of Fire Red right now on my Switch. I haven't even been playing Arc Raiders because I've been playing Fire Red. So this is just not on my agenda right now because we just got some other things to get through. And this is a pack 2026. Also, I want to add that Capcom released Resident Evil Requiem and they're releasing Pragmata. That's Capcom too. Pragmata. Whatever. They're releasing another game this year. So the amount of revenue that, and if that game even half as successful as this Resident Evil game, they are basically a printing money making machine in 2026. And we all know in 2026 it's very hard for some of these franchises and some of these studios to make money. So shout out to them. But let us know, did you buy Resident Evil? Are you part of that 5 million? And if not, what did you think about it? Is it a real nice addition to the franchise? Do you like it? All that, let us know in the comments down below. All right. Bloodborne fans might not like this one, which I know they don't like this one because new reports initially suggested Sony has rejected multiple ideas to bring Bloodborne back, but now we are hearing From Software rejected these ideas in the end, including talks of a remake, sequel, and even potential spin-offs. Yeah, you heard that right, spin-offs. One of the most beloved games in PlayStation history. And apparently Sony keeps saying no, well, From Software keeps saying no to bringing it back. And that's what has fans completely confused right now. Because if there's one game people have been begging to return, it's definitely Bloodborne. So the question is, why would anybody shut this down in 2026? All right, so here's what the reports are saying. Apparently, multiple pitches over the years have been floated to revive Bloodborne in some way, whether it's a remake, a sequel, or some type of spin-off project. But according to insiders, Sony hasn't moved forward with any of them reportedly because of From Software. And that's surprising because the demand for Bloodborne has never really gone away. Fans still want a PC version, a remake, a sequel, something, which leads to the big debate. Is Sony sitting on one of the most valuable PlayStation IPs and doing nothing with it? All right, so let's recap quickly everything that's been going on. Because first, they said Sony rejected multiple pitches for the Bloodborne comeback in some form or fashion, but now they're saying From Software. So it's kind of like that meme from Spider-Man where everybody's pointing at each other. The pitches reportedly include remakes, sequels, and possible spin-offs. Bloodborne, originally released in 2015, damn, it's been that long, became one of the most beloved PlayStation games. Fans have been asking for a remake, sequel, or even a PC port for years. Despite the demand, Sony has not moved forward with any new project. This has left many players confused on why one of PlayStation's biggest cult classics is sitting dormant. So why this matters? Sony owns the Bloodborne IP, but From Software developed the original game and has creative control over its direction, reportedly. So if From Software isn't interested, Sony can't easily make a sequel without them or their blessing. Now, possible reasons. Speculation in the community includes From Software is focusing on new IP and other projects. I get so irritated when I hear that. The studio not wanting to revisit old titles. Creative director Miyazaki preferring new ideas instead of sequels on his original idea. Now I ask this to Infamous: is Sony wasting one of its best IPs by not bringing Bloodborne back?
Yes, you couldn't ask for more easy cash grab than a Bloodborne remake, remaster. Fans are literally frothing at the mouth to have something available. You could do a next gen patch just to bring it out of its 30 FPS and 60 FPS gameplay, and they're not doing anything. And this whole, oh well, they won't do it without the blessing of FromSoft. What are you talking about? You own the IP. Since when does Sony need to adhere to anyone like that? They don't do this for anyone else. So I'm curious as to what's going on. But I'm going to say this. People probably don't remember this. When Elden Ring was coming out, there was an interview with Miyazaki. Oh, yeah, that's his name, by the way. That's how you pronounce it. And he expressed how he felt about Bluepoint remaking Demon's Souls, and how he felt some type of way that Elden Ring, his newest magnum opus, did not live up to the standards or look as sexy as the remake that they did. So I can only assume when they went, it was like, hey, yeah, you want to do so-and-so one night. He was like, no, I don't want to be upstaged. Because other than that, Sony, why do you care? You own the IP. And at a point where, like I've been saying, to drive people to bring people to the console, this is a clear slam dunk. People are wanting this game so bad that they could do the Last of Us treatment. They can remaster it and then remake it, and people will buy it both times, because that's just how beloved Bloodborne is. I mean, I love Bloodborne. It was my first Souls game that got me into this, and it is beloved. The Lovecraftian style, the horror, the creatures, the convoluted From Software lore. But this whole thing that like, oh, we won't do it unless, they're willing to work on it. Okay, well, they're not willing to work on it because we've been hearing that busy doing their own thing for years. That the 10-year anniversary of Bloodborne was last year, and people were expecting something. Hell, an announcement, anything. And it came and left out of peep. Not even when From Software clearly don't care. They're like, hey man, just wait on us. We'll get you. You're doing Elden Ring, then the DLC is exclusive to Nintendo Dust Bloods, and then now another mystery project. They're not concerned. What's gonna happen to this game? It's just gonna be a figment of our imaginations. I think Sony is really, really dropping the ball. And they really need to say, hey bro, you ain't got time for us. We'll find someone that does it. Just like Thanos once said, I'll do it myself.
Oh, not the Thanos quote. I was not prepared for that. Listen, I think, and we said this in our group chat. I might put us some pop up from the group chat because our friend is very much a Bloodborne fanatic as well. My cousin and him shares that fascination. It has to be something that is keeping Sony. This creator has to have Sony by the balls. Maybe, I mean, this is 2015. I'm just thinking maybe it's, I don't know. Listen, we all know Sony is, I said this in a group chat too, like they're Japanese, so maybe they have some type of honor that they don't want to renege on with the creator and From Software. I mean, there has been reports and rumors that it's some code name FMC. They're pushing out soon, whatever the fuck that is. They have to have something that is keeping them from just saying, well, fuck you, we'll do it ourselves, like you said. There has to be something written. I don't think Sony would just let a franchise like Bloodborne go so long and basically just go dormant. Like, we said this too. You was like, basically, this creator is basically George R.R. Martin with Game of Thrones. He will not finish that book, the book series. And maybe Bloodborne came so big and like you said, it's so beloved. Whatever they just know it's going to be highly criticized. Like maybe they have a little fear or gun shy. Like, maybe they're just like, it's not worth the hassle. We made our masterpiece. We're not going to touch it. We're not going to do anything. And Sony is probably waiting for the creator to die so they can do something with this. I don't know. Like it's endless possibilities.
That got a little dark there.
I'm saying, like, obviously while he's living, they're not gonna go against his wishes. So they will really have, how companies do, right? When the real dude passes, they get the kids to sign the rights over, things like that for cash grab. Like, it has to be something because I think you're right. I think Sony would not let 10 years go by and not cash in at least on a 10-year anniversary or bring it to next gen update or something. Like, it's just, this is a very weird, I don't know. This is just very weird because like they are milking the fucking cattle dry with God of War. Like, they already said they're bringing the trilogy back. They're redoing that, and they did the 2 entries in modern day. Like, and then we got rumors of another fucking God of War game. Like, it doesn't make sense in no form or fashion why Sony hasn't done anything. And I think the owner has to have them by the balls. He has to have something written because it's just odd. I don't know. It's just very odd. You let us know what you think and how you feel. Are you very upset that Bloodborne 10th year anniversary came and went? Do you think the creator and From Software are making a huge mistake, but not continuing on with at least a regen, a next gen update, like they even said spin-offs, a sequel, something? Let us know in the comments down below. All right, so that was just some of the, really, like I said, this week in gaming has been crazy, but that is just a few major things that we talked about. Bloodborne, Resident Evil, Black Flag confirmed. Oh yeah, and fucking Highguard. Fucking damn, see, that's how quick it comes and goes. You just fucking forget because it's so irrelevant. Listen, Highguard shutting down. Let us know what you think and how you feel about any of the topics we went over this week. But you already know how it is. You already know what we about. We'll be here at the same time, same place next week. Peace.
Game on. And that's it for this video of Are You Not Entertained podcast. Thanks for hanging out with us. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that bell so you'll never miss our next hot take. Until next time, Are You Not Entertained?